Hey, what's Davo? What's going on, everybody? Today we got a bit of a different video. Instead of a PvP showcase, we're going to be doing a community reaction on King and Diane. So go ahead and smash the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. So yesterday I tweeted this out. First of all, yesterday was like a weird combination of stuff, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, because the homie Iron, he tweeted out something. He was saying that, oh, please buff King Diane you are. And I'm like, huh? Like what? In my experience, I thought they were just like dumb broken, very strong. And then I was like, why buff? And he dropped the video and he was like, oh, it's gonna be AI dubbed. But essentially, from what I've watched already, his quarrels were that this character is very selfish, and it's like he doesn't like the whole damage cap portion where you have to do a certain amount of damage for them to actually even to do a petrify, which is kind of I kind of went on over some of that stuff too when I initially showcased them, but I still did think that they were very strong. But for the first segment of the video, we'll go over the replies to this tweet. We'll see what everybody dislikes about them. So let's hop in. So y'all like the meme picture? I love this picture, bro. So first person, mid Escanor was better last year. I 100% agree, because I feel like nobody really reacted to Escanor how I reacted to Escanor, because I thought he was just absolutely utterly dominant. He had death single target. He can cap off your HP with his AoE. If he died, he did explode damage to you, and when he died, he gave everybody on his team a single target damage dealt buff, and he had a unity link. He had the entrance animation, and then what else? To top it all off, what else did he have? He had damage cap. Like this guy was just straight up stupid. What else could I possibly mention? I would say the least remarkable thing about the Eternal Sunshine Escanor last year was just his ultimate. Everything else is like 10 out of 10. But he was like 100% like the most craziest thing I've ever seen, like in Grand Cross. Obviously, you know, power creep is a thing with these little gacha games, but nonetheless, on his release, I think he was so much more impressive. Transcendent Bond was good. I liked him, but he did have like he was you know, they had to buff him, so he was, something was wrong with him. And then I said elaborate Yamcha, but he didn't elaborate. But Marilli says mid LR Milim better. I don't know about Milim being better, just because like Diane does have some, well, I say Diane, but KD, King and Diane do have like a way of like dealing with her by just stunning her. And well, I'll get back to Iron's video later, but essentially he was saying like you got to do a certain amount of damage to actually get a petrify off. But he was saying on specifically the fairy team, like the Shadow Garden team with Alpha, Beta backline, and then like Lancelot or you know Sid, he was like, you can't really do enough damage to get to that 400k. But I think they're much better team. The Sin team, you can easily do that if you have you are Escanor, not you are Light Escanor Relic. I think he takes care of that whole 400k threshold, because if you go back, I swear my first showcase with King and Diane, and I was like, that 400k threshold, bro, I don't like having to like rely on like, you know, to get something in order to hit hard. But I will say, since Escanor Relic is dumb, stupid, strong, and very good, and can be ran with King and Diane, I feel like that alleviates that whole like damage thresholds. And I was running her or them KD on HP defense, and it was like no problem getting to that threshold. So I think the whole 400k thing is kind of like blown out of proportion. Now I can see if you go second and Milim just utterly like just blows you out of the water, and then you have nobody else on your team to help you to get the 400k threshold, then we have a problem. But to be fair, Grand Cross has always had a problem with this whole going second shenanigans. They have never done anything to try to alleviate like or even help people who do go second. Now there are ult rush teams, but it's just like wait, that's like the only option of like going second. There is like no real like go second like team other than like Alt Rush or like another team with like damage cap like Ragnarok Diane. But as you can see, we got a Diane, so it's just like, why would I run that Diane when a more broken one is out? So moving on, Amazing Grand Cross. Honestly, a really good unit, but only one gripe with them is the fact that they cannot work an Ender Retribution. They will be really good since they have a Petrify and good damage, but they are definitely gonna sell another unit for that. Everything else about the unit is great, no issues. Great, no issues. I could, I could see it. The fact when I joined VC with Amazing the other day, he told me you can run them within the Ender. I was like, huh? Why not? Because their passive specifically has an icon saying can't be run in deathmatch. This right here, actually kind of stupid. The new shiny fairy unit can't even be ran in the new demon mode. So unfortunately, they're gonna sell another fairy unit to you in like not 2 weeks, because in 2 weeks we're gonna get a Pelagard. So somewhere down the line, we're gonna get another fairy unit, possibly blue, that you can run an Enderer that they want to sell to you, unfortunately. So right on, Amazing. Moving on, Rose Mat, Millum Victim. I mean, yeah, going second, 100% agree, but it's just like, if you go first, Millum is food to them. So it's like, I don't really see this whole Millum shtick. I mean, it's just like people trying to be funny saying Millum is just like broken, but they can cope somewhere else. Sora Grand Cross, I know he did reply. Stupid broken, just needs some thinking and knowing your damage for them to be broken. Also, most people I run into are just using horrible teams for them. Bad going second though. Bad going second. Yes. I can agree. But like, I would say the best like go second team, or I wouldn't even say the best go second. I would think like a team that's equipped for going second better than this new festival would be Unknowns, just because they have like the whole revive. Merlin got damage cap, and then even if somebody did Millum would get a 1 damage buff. So it's just like they're better equipped for going second compared to like King and Diane, because you know they're really just giving damage reduction and they give HP to themselves, and then they can attempt to petrify if they do enough damage to you. So he said like legit, if they just gave them Green King starter battle shield, they would be flawless. It's kind of funny because I was thinking if you run Melly Ellie with them and just use Melly Ellie like talent, I know it sounds crazy because King of Diane's talent is like super mega broken, really good, but if you use that shield, that gives them some sort of protection. I mean, that doesn't sound like a bad idea in my opinion. But let's see this reply. Your senpai says, I think so too. That's sadly the one thing that's holding them back so much, is that if they just had some starter turn like capability of tanking. And also I keep going back to it, but eventually I'm just keep referencing like Iron's video in these replies, because he says that King and Diane are like very selfish. They give like a certain amount of basic stats, but everything else is tied behind something else in terms of like survivability. He was saying on alphas, like on a fairy team with alpha and whatnot, you got those first 2 hits that only can do basic stats, and then once your turn starts and you do like 3 attacks, you can get damage cap. But then he was saying after all that, what do you really have to live? All Diane and King and Diane are providing is just basic stats, and he was saying how that's not enough, and he was saying how they really are just like a selfish unit. I don't know about selfish unit, just because it's like, now if they had to do the 400k damage themselves, I would say 100% they would be like throw it away, send it back, because it's like, why do I have to do damage with them when one, they can just let's say I fight another alpha and then they just like, first of all, I would have to use my talent, so never mind. In some scenario where I use my talent first, and then after that the enemy does a alpha debuff and they seal me and I can't do no type of attack to build that 400k, then I'm cooked. So, and if it was tied to them specifically, then it'd be like mega poop. But your allies can actually do that damage for you and help you out. So he was saying a lot of their problems on the fairy team aren't it, but I think in my opinion a lot of the problems are solved on like a run-of-the-mill like Sins team. You got Escanor, Merlin backline, Transcendent Bond if you want to, or you run Millie Elliott. I think Millie Elliott is pretty cool. I ran them off camera yesterday, and I thought they were pretty solid. But yeah, moving on to the next reply. Let's go back. Holy moly. Let's look at ACG. He says they're not perfect. They're not the perfect unit, but they're very strong. I like that they made Sin team viable again. Escanor, though, my favorite unit of the celebration so far, though. He's so fun. He's actually like he is the anniversary unit, bro. They slid Escanor into this to another celebration for anniversary, and they made his relic absolutely like a 10 out of 10, probably possibly a 20 out of 10, because that nigga is crazy. He went from like being kind of runnable. I swear you can get away with light Escanor sometimes if you get like a good Sins buff, but we got a good Sins buff, and they made this nigga on par with like everything that released this year. Like I'm talking about festivals that released this year. I think he is on par with like Mael and hell, possibly even Melieli for sure, because that he is very crazy. So I'm gonna drop a like real quick. Your senpai says, I love the unit, well written and good animations. Yeah, you know what animations I'm talking about. Holy moly, bro, keep it in your pants. Overall, a good anniversary unit. I like their kit very much. I just don't know about the character being like an anniversary like worthy high key. I think maybe if they were like, to me, this character would be a great like November festival, but anniversary unit, I don't really think so. I'd much prefer like, hell, even a Bond and a Lane over like King and Diane. I mean, I like King, not so much Diane. I love Bond, but I feel like Bond carries a lane more than King can carry Diane. You know, I like it's kind of weird, but I do like their kit very much. The thing I would probably like the least about them is obviously the ultimate skill, and the ultimate skill is gonna always be a problem. They don't really have a good going second capabilities, and that's another thing that Iron was saying in the video. He was like, if you go second, bro, you're pretty much warm buttery toast with them. And considering that they're the new shiny unit and they can't have any rebuttal going second, then he thinks that should take some marks off of him. I think with who came out, Escanor last year, right? Even if Escanor, they gave Escanor damage cap to combat the going second, because it's like if you didn't go first, you still had damage cap and you still had like some hope of winning. So it's like they gave him something, which is very nice. They tried to give this DN like KD some sort of HP at the start of their turn and whatnot, but it's like HP isn't enough, which is what Iron was saying in this video as well. Maybe if they just gave like, if that one buff, this buff specifically right here, it says Giant Queen's Protection, HP related stats plus 20%. If it was this and like a little bit more damage reduction or something like that, or even like some sort of like some other defensive mechanic, who knows, I feel like that'd be like mega broken. But don't get me wrong, I do think this character is good. I kind of do agree with like what Yamcha was saying, that Escanor last year felt so much more dominant. This DN, they do feel dominant. I just feel like Escanor was just like on a different level. He was just like something of legends, you know, like something like that you would describe to like your grandkids in front of like a chimney fire, like in your den. You know, you're sitting, I'm old, Uncle Dave got a white beard, and I'm like, oh, Escanor was like Eternal Sunshine. Escanor was crazy. You wouldn't believe what he did all back then. But you know, obviously he'd be shit compared to like 50 years from now. So like Yagami, he says, really well designed unit, not insanely broken, but if we kept kidding that the game would be dead soon. They are one of the best ways to counter hell while making PvP matches fun. Anyone actually wanting them to be buff can't have more than 2 brain cells, I swear to God. I don't know, I worded that harshly, but I don't know about a buff, just because me using them, even at 1.6, I thought that they were very like dominant, and I was like, I was misplaying and you know, still winning. And then even at 6.6, I'm like, what can they even do to me? You know, obviously I could just run like shitter old units that can be ran under their passive, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, they look so bad. But if you just run the meta team, them Light Escanor, I really do like Meliele with them because I tried it off camera, but I'll do it a video with them, and I thought it was very dominant. With Merlin backline, or swap out Meliele for Transcendent Bond for extra HP, damage reduction, and then the debuffs, right, for lowering attack. And I feel like, what can they do to me? This is like half the time I'm like not taking no damage. It's like borderline, what am I running Tarmion for them? That's what it feels like. So yeah, you get a like Yagami. And then Lancelot says Lancelot himself, he just got a buff. Oh my god. Very good and fun, but Light Escanor with a relic is the main anti-unit. True. And then we have one more. Similar situation with Light Bond when he released. They need a buff, I think, but the things to change aren't that big. The kit has good potential. I think the only thing that people really have a gripe with when it comes to the kit is this specific red portion right here. So when you get all the accumulated, well, hold on, the enemy takes 40% additional damage equal to 40% of the accumulated value. At 1/6, guess what that is? 20%. So at 6/6, obviously you're gonna hit like super mega unga bunga super chunga hungy like DK damage, right? And then this part, if there's a petrified enemy, applicable allies final damage taken from enemy skills decreased by 50%, and then at 1/6 you get 20%. Now, I kind of didn't like this last sentence either, because it's like, one, what if you can't like stun them? So like you fight Meliele or something like that, or you fight somebody with Ludo's healing. It's like, what is this even for? I feel like maybe if we had like another way of getting damage reduction for the team, then I feel like they'd just be all around better. Maybe if they had like 20% damage reduction from the team just for free, and then if you petrify somebody, you get even more damage reduction. I feel like that'd be insane. I feel like it may. I like the kit as it is, but my biggest gripe gotta be with this part, because it's like, what if I don't petrify, I'm just a fish? like what? Like, what if I don't want to? What if I can't petrify? Like, you know, like what if my petrify is run, like not if I run out? What if I just don't top that the card? I'm just out of luck. Like, okay. Meanwhile, Millum can just do Millum things. Like, it's not fair. I'm the new anniversary unit. I'm the big shiny unit. Like, come on, bro, cut me some slack. But all in all these things that like are gripes that everybody have, Iron really did touch all of them, honestly. And a big part of it was just like, he feels like this character is more selfish. Now, last year, when Escanor came out, bro was like selfish, and he was like prime LeBron James, bro. Like doing damage, cutting off HP, giving your team extra damage dealt when he dies, meanwhile exploding on all over to the enemy and taking some HP away too. This nigga good on offense and defense. Like what? The two-way sword himself. But at the end of the day, I hear a lot of y'all, what y'all are saying. In terms of a buff, this character, I don't think is probably going to get a buff, just because I feel like when I use them, they do feel dominant. You could say, oh, they're terrible, they're going second. Grand Cross has always had a problem with characters going second, and they really only like cater to like unknowns for that specifically. So and then they hardly even get a good go second like comp anyway. So is that it? He said there's no way people think King and Diane need a yes sir, you are right. What is he saying? Toot Flick says one of the best units ever. People just got LR Millum effect. I mean, I kind of understand that. To be fair, Millum was like super hyped up and very strong. At one point I was calling her the best unit in in gacha gaming history, just because of the things she could do. She can't be stat lowered. She gives defense related to herself. If one of her allies dies or she kills somebody, she can get a 1 damage buff and she can't take damage essentially. What else? She has a death AoE. She didn't care about being blockaded. Even if you did blockade her, you could still do an AoE. As long as you had the dragon buff, you would still do extra damage. That character is beyond stupid. And then if she attacked with type advantage over everybody. Like, she is the greatest offensive character. She probably will be good all year still. I think so. The replies are still coming in. This is crazy. But I think I'm gonna turn off replies now. Mute this conversation. I don't think I've ever. How do you turn this shit off? Uncle's getting old, bro. Relevancy. Highlight, add or remove, mute this conversation, change who can reply. Yeah, okay. Only me. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. No more replies. No more replies. All right. So Adult Reborn, he says, they're very well designed unit and fun. Anyone who thinks otherwise is just plain stupid. All right. Okay. On the Davo, on Uncle Davo channel. Hold on, let me not go on my regular TL. We don't want to just call people just dumb and stupid. We just, you know, let's use our words. Let's elaborate a bit and tell people why we think King and Diane are strong. You know, I think they're strong just because I feel like when I use them, it's not much the enemy can do to me. And then also, obviously, I'm kind of under the whole guise of, not guise, that's not the word. I'm under the safety of Eternal Sunshine of Escanor, and it's like he's doing the damage for me, so I can get the 400k easily. So it's kind of like Escanor saved me, but if I didn't run Escanor, I can see a lot of where the gripes are coming from for people. But at the same time, they did release UR Escanor, and he is he kind of is. He took over this anniversary, so I think without him, maybe I think I could see the end. King of the End being like kind of not even bad. I think there would just be like right now, I think that Sense team has got to be like a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. But if Escanor didn't come out and it was just like Diane on the fairy team, I could see a lot of the issues, you know, because it's like who is doing enough damage to get that 400k for them? Because it's like, why would I do Lancelot AoE if I have no insight on somebody? You know, so he told me I gotta apply insight, then do an AoE, and then pop the trigger or death on whatever his AoE death stuff on, and then pray I do enough to petrify, and then God forbid I fight another alpha team, because those first 2 hits won't even do exactly what they're supposed to be doing, because guess what, that stuff is blocked. You can only do basic stats, ain't no extra effects or nothing like that. It's just like good luck trying to get 400k. So that's really it. I think my biggest gripe with them is obviously that whole 6/6 tie-in petrify thing, and then obviously with being unrunnable and Ender is kind of like silly to me, because it's like they're blue, they're fairies, they got a petrify. Why can't they be ran in Ender? You know, it's like kind of odd. But well, I guess you could take them. No, but it's just like their passive wouldn't work, and it's like, bro, like, you know, just a bunch of silliness. But I think that's it. This has been a community reaction. Thank y'all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, shout out to the homie Iron. If you guys want to take a look at this video, I will. Well, it's gonna be. I mean, you just go to my Twitter. I retweeted it. So, yeah, man, that's it. Thank y'all for watching. Peace out. Y'all stay good, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.